Well, nobody really likes Kamala Harris. And when you're the DEI hire for the presidency, it's really, really tough to win over the American people when you really just lack substance. But the White House is calling in their top PR people to kind of make her appear to be a little likable. And well, it's not going so well. Take a listen. Oh, I've seen novella actresses do a better job. That was awful, but again, she's really scraping the bottom of the barrel. And well, there's new polling that kind of shows just that. It's out by Rasmussen Reports. Let's take a look. So, this is just partial of the polling. 56% of voters now view Vice President Kamala Harris as unfavorable, obviously. And well, 43% of voters find her to be very unfavorable. That's kind of their impression on the VP. Not really, really surprising, of course. Let's bring in someone who knows a lot about this recent poll that was just released. Let's bring in Mark Mitchell. He is one of the great people over at Rasmussen Report, their head pollster, and he joins us now to discuss. Mark, thank you. I wanted to point our audience to you go into depth a lot of these polls, and I just kind of briefly touch on them on your YouTube page, and that link is going to be in our description. So thank you for joining us. Look, I just gave a brief overview of what that poll kind of details. But there's a lot more going on here now. Kamala Harris, like I mentioned in my open, really isn't that popular amongst most voters. She's kind of rough around the edges because she's just so awkward and she's trying so hard. I think most voters see through it. So, what are you hearing from likely voters?
Yeah, just having to watch that cold open, I think, it's very clear. Let's look at what we're talking about, though. We have Donald Trump going up against the president, where a strong majority of people think that he has some form of dementia, and she polls worse than Joe Biden does. So that's how unlikable she is. But her favorable numbers are less than his. And again, like 2 to 3 points less today. This is after a few nights' results of post-debate job approval. Her favorability is 41% amongst all voters, 21% very favorable. But the real problem, believe it or not, is this election, for independents, for conservative independents and Republicans, I think it really is about getting Donald Trump back in office. Republicans and independents have very similar favorability for her than they do for Biden. But it's Democrats that have a much less favorable opinion of her. It's only 69% of Democrats. Joe Biden's polling at 79% now among Democrats. But the fact is, we have other questions. She's just seen kind of a bit like a failure. And like what we should be talking about here is how she would step in for Joe Biden and save the Democrats from the problem they've put themselves in. And, she's supposed to be the president in training. She's supposed to be the heir apparent. And right now, Kamala Harris is vice president of the U.S. Is she doing a better job or worse job than most previous vice presidents? Only 19% of the country says better. 49% says worse. And again, she doesn't really even do anything. And almost a majority of Americans say she's worse than most recent vice presidents. Democrats, 36% say better, 21% say worse. Independents, only 12% say better, 51% say worse. I think it's fair to say that nobody really looks at that woman and thinks that she's presidential material. And we've been polling on Joe Biden's mental decline for years. We've seen it coming, and we've been trying to test matchups of people, anyone, that we could run against Trump and see, well, does that person do better? And the one time we tested Kamala Harris, she did worse than Biden by 6 points against Trump. Right now, Trump's beating Biden by like 9, 10 points. That would put her, in the mid-teens down against Trump. And I think the Democrats, there's some aspect of maybe they'll vote for who they're told to vote for, but I mean, it's not better for them. And what's sad is it seems like really it's their only option.
Yeah, it does. I mean, we just spoke with Sean Parnell about the latest report, and that's, Democrats, the governors are coming together and they're saying, we want out of Joe Biden. And so they're trying to figure out how they're going to switch this up. And he's expected to meet with them as well privately. But a lot of individuals are getting kind of upset and they want him gone. Kamala Harris doesn't really seem like a valid option. Based on your polling, though, what's going to happen if she does take the White House? What do you guys kind of predict based on the numbers you're seeing?
I don't know. I mean, I'm constantly surprised by the press's ability to make a certain portion of the population think what they want them to think. But I'll tell you, as far as I'm sure there's a lot of people lobbying Joe Biden to step aside. I'm sure there's a lot of his backers threatening to pull money. One of the things you hear often said, though, is that they can't go with anybody else because Kamala Harris is the DEI hire and she checks those diversity check boxes. And I'm here to tell you, I don't think that is a big thing. I don't think it really matters that much. I'm looking at her favorability numbers among women right now. They're 43%. That's only 4 points higher than men. Her favorability among black voters is 54%. Only 30% of them have a very favorable impression of her. And that's, again, that's 15 points less than Democrats. So the signal there, I honestly think that they can just, overlook this woman, pick somebody else if they're going to do that.
Yeah.
And we'll all just kind of forget that she was in that office.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's the border czar, and she's done absolutely nothing for our border. Well, an official for our border. I found this number actually pretty alarming too. 29% of the people you guys polled think Kamala Harris hurts Biden's reelection chances, and then 43% say having Harris as a running mate will not make much of a difference for Joe. So now that they're kind of in scatter mode, and Joe is saying that he's going to continue to run, do you think maybe they should do a switcheroo here? Is that what the people are saying when that 43% of them say she's not really helping out his ticket? Maybe they could switch it for a stronger VP candidate, and that might offer Joe Biden some relief at the polls. I don't know.
I mean, how do you just dump her along the side of the road? I don't know. I don't see that playing well. I forget
Yeah.
where I saw it today, but I think one of the problems is that it can't really take drastic action without exuding chaos in the minds of voters. And I
Mhm.
very much think that what the Democrats want to be putting out right now is that they're the party of sane government. They're the party of non Donald Trump. They're the party of regularity. And really, there's no way for them to win and do that. Biden is going to lose in probably a landslide if the trends continue. Kamala Harris, you put her in, she's probably going to lose in a landslide too.
Mhm.
Any of the other people, open for convention, get Newsom in there, get Whitmer in there. They don't do any better than Biden does either. So, I mean, really, I guess we're going to see what happens at Trump's sentencing. But right now, the polling number says that, my advice to Trump and the Republicans is I guess you got this one in the bag. You should probably focus on how to win down ballot races and try and get better turnout for Republican congressmen and senators. Because really, where's the challenge anymore? I don't think there is one.
Yeah, Democrats really put themselves in a corner, and rightfully so. They didn't want to have a primary. They didn't want anyone to challenge Joe Biden. And I think that was mainly because they knew he wasn't going to be able to put on a debate if they put him on a debate stage with these challengers. And now they're in a situation where the entire country sees through it. I can't imagine them switching him out for anyone who has a higher popularity amongst the American people. So we'll see how this all plays out. Mark, I want to remind our audience again to head over to your Rasmussen Report YouTube page, because that's where you're diving into all of these polls and going in at great length with all of this. So we greatly appreciate all you guys do, especially because we're getting closer to November. So now is the time where you guys want to pay attention. So make sure you head over there and subscribe. Mark, thanks for jumping on with us. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Appreciate it.